My name is Alina. I am 27 years old. And for the last 3 years, I have been married to a man who is almost never home. My husband, Victor, works overseas. Construction contracts. 6 weeks away. 10 days home. Then gone again. People say I am lucky. A husband who provides. A big house. Financial security. But they don't see the silence. They don't see the nights. They don't see how loud an empty house can be. When the electricity bill doubled and my savings started shrinking, I made a decision I never thought I would make. I rented out the guest room. Not permanently. Just for a month. Just until Victor's next transfer payment came through. That's how Daniel entered my life. He arrived with one suitcase. Polite, quiet. Early 30s. Not flashy, not charming in a dangerous way. Just calm. "I won't disturb you," he said the first evening. "I won't be home much." That should have reassured me. But it didn't. The first week passed peacefully. He paid on time. Kept his room clean. Barely spoke. But one evening, while I was struggling with a leaking kitchen pipe, he stepped in without asking. "You'll hurt your hand," he said gently. Within 10 minutes, it was fixed. I felt embarrassed. And strangely, grateful. The house didn't feel so empty after that. We started small conversations. Nothing inappropriate. Just normal things. Work. Weather. Books. One night, the power went out in the entire neighborhood. Candles flickered across the living room. And for the first time in months, I laughed. Really laughed. It scared me. Because I realized how lonely I had been. Then everything changed. Victor called unexpectedly. "I'm coming home early," he said. 2 weeks early. My heart dropped. Not because I was guilty, but because I suddenly saw everything from the outside. A married woman. A male tenant. A quiet house. A story waiting to be misunderstood. I told Daniel the next morning. "My husband is returning." He nodded calmly. "I'll be gone before he arrives." That surprised me. "You don't have to," I said. "I do," he replied. And that's when something felt wrong. Too quick. Too prepared. That evening, while cleaning his room after he left for work, I noticed something odd. The closet was almost empty, but the drawer contained copies. Photocopies of documents. Bills. My name. Victor's contracts. Bank statements. My hands started shaking. Why would he have those? Why would he copy them? I searched further. Inside his suitcase lining. A second phone. With recorded calls. Photos of the house. Photos of Victor. Photos of me. My stomach dropped. Daniel was not a random tenant. He was investigating us. But why? Victor arrived the next day. Tired, irritated. Suspicious the moment he saw the second toothbrush in the bathroom. "You rented the room?" he asked. "Yes." "You didn't think to ask me." "You weren't here." That argument exploded fast. Accusations. Tone changes. Distance widening. Then the doorbell rang. Daniel. He walked in calmly. But not as a tenant. As someone else. "Mr. Victor Hale," he said evenly. "I work with the financial compliance unit." The room froze. Victor's face went pale. "I don't know what this is about," Victor said sharply. Daniel placed documents on the table. Offshore transfers. False invoices. Money laundering under construction contracts. My heart stopped. Victor looked at me. Not angry. Not confused. Cornered. "You knew?" Daniel asked me softly. I shook my head. No. And I truly didn't. The next hour blurred. Phone calls, police, documents, handcuffs. Victor didn't scream. He just looked at me once, with something like regret and fear. That night, the house was silent again. But different, heavier. Daniel returned one final time. To collect remaining files, he said. I crossed my arms. So you rented my room to spy on my husband. He met my eyes. We suspected him for months. We needed access. And me. You were collateral, he admitted quietly. That word hurt. Collateral. Like I was part of a business deal. But before leaving, he paused. You deserved better than what he was building, he said. For weeks, the house felt haunted. Neighbors whispered. News spread. Financial fraud arrest. Local businessman exposed. People looked at me differently. With pity. With curiosity. With suspicion. But I was not guilty. I was not naive. I was simply unaware. The divorce came quickly. Assets frozen. Reputation shattered. Mine included. But something unexpected happened. I didn't break. I didn't hide. I reopened the guest room. Not for rent. For rebuilding. I turned it into a small workspace. Started freelance bookkeeping. Helping small local shops manage honest finances. Irony has a sense of humor. 6 months later, Daniel returned. Not officially. Just as a visitor. I wanted to check on you, he said. You don't have to investigate anymore, I replied. A small smile appeared. I'm not. This time, we spoke as equals. Not tenant and landlord. Not suspect and collateral. Just two people who survived something unexpected. But I learned something important. Loneliness makes you vulnerable. Trust makes you brave. And secrets. Secrets never stay in rented rooms. They grow. They breathe. And eventually, they knock on your own door. My name is Alina. I once rented out a room to survive. Instead, it exposed the truth I was living beside. And sometimes, losing the illusion is the beginning of freedom. But the story didn't end there. 3 months later, I received a letter. No sender name. No return address. Inside was a single sentence. You were never the target. My hands went cold. If Victor wasn't the only one under investigation, then who else was involved? I called Daniel immediately. His voice was calm, too calm. Alina, I was hoping that letter wouldn't reach you. What does it mean? I whispered. Silence. Then, your husband wasn't the mastermind. He was just the face. The real architect of the fraud. One of the board members. Someone still free. Someone who knew where I lived. That night, I locked every door twice. For the first time, I wasn't afraid of loneliness. I was afraid of truth. A week later, Daniel returned not as an officer, but as protection. Not because I was weak, but because I had seen too much. And then the final twist came. The frozen assets from Victor's illegal operations. Legally transferred to compensate victims. Including me. The house I once felt trapped in. It became mine. Fully. Legally. Irony again. I rented a room to survive. Instead, it uncovered a crime. Exposed a marriage. Destroyed a lie. And rebuilt my life. Daniel once asked me, if you could go back, would you still rent that room? I smiled. Yes. Because sometimes, the stranger who enters your house isn't the danger. The danger was already living with you. And that was the real secret. Not just a rented room. Not just a broken marriage. But the truth hiding in plain sight. And this time, I was no one's collateral. I was the woman who survived the secret.